a week 2 matchup that I have my eyes on, a return to Canton, Ohio, where we're going to have one of our 4 hubs for the USFL. Panthers at the Stars. That's 7 o'clock Eastern time on Sunday, April 23rd, Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. I'm enjoying that one because I really like this rivalry between Jeff Fisher and Bart Andrus, who are on a staff together, Tennessee Titans. But so far, Coach Fisher hasn't been able to get a win in this one. Do you think this is the time for it?
Well, unfortunately, we're going to give you some news here now, RJ. We've had to make a change, at Michigan for personal reasons. Coach Fisher reached out to us in late January and really felt that he could not coach at the level that he needed to coach to help Michigan win a championship, to do what was best for his players. So he reluctantly resigned due to those personal reasons. So we immediately got into coaching search mode. We were trying to pull Michigan ties in to try to do whatever we could, to really kind of add some flavor there. Got close on a couple of potential candidates who very complimentary on what we did year one, became fans of the USFL during the season. And the timing was just not right. And we kept grinding, kept looking, and boy, did we find a great one. So Mike Nolan is going to be the head coach of the Michigan Panthers here in year 2. And, a lot of people will say that Mike Riley is the nicest man you'll ever meet in football. I'd say that Mike Nolan is probably the second nicest man you'd ever meet in football. So we're really excited to welcome him into the USFL family and can't wait to see, what he does assembling his staff and really starting to get that roster fine-tuned.
When you say nicer than Mike Riley, I really can't wait to meet Coach Nolan, because I've never met him before, but I can't think of a kinder man than Coach Riley. So I'm really interested to have 2 of the kinder guys in our league this year. But other than that, Mike Nolan's a heck of an offensive mind, right, Daryl?
Defensive. He's coming from the defensive side. Yep.
Thank you. What do you think that he can bring to the league that perhaps you don't have already?
I think the big thing, again, is just legitimizing what we're doing. When you attract somebody the caliber of Mike Nolan, who was in the NFL just 2 years ago as a defensive coordinator, and you go back and you look at his history as a head coach, as a defensive coordinator throughout the NFL, just a ton of experience, and the players that he's had the opportunity to work with, develop, and help them chase the dreams that they want to. I think he's an absolutely perfect fit for what we're doing. So, we couldn't be happier. And we were, truth be told, I don't know if everybody else was, but I was, because the news came so late. How are we going to be able to do this at this time and get somebody in of the caliber that we want to have moving forward? And just blessed. I mentioned at the beginning, about when you asked me how I felt about year one, blessed to have good people around me, blessed to have good teammates within the USF family. We've done that again with Mike Nolan, and for him to have the belief in what we're doing and the confidence that we're going to take that next step in year 2, and he wants to be a part of that, was very flattering to us. So just tremendously excited for that, and I think that Philadelphia Michigan rivalry will still be there. As you pointed out, it was a real good feel story. When you talk about Jeff Fisher and Bart Andrus and the history that they have together, going way back in time. So I think that plants the seeds for it. But I think that we're going to be able to continue to press that on here. And one of the great things is, we ask those teams in our hubs, even though they're competitors, to become companions and work together. And I think that Bart and Mike will really enjoy getting to spend a little bit more time together and get to know each other on a different level.
He's going to have some great pieces to work with. I know that. Frank Gindo was a revelation for linebacker for the Panthers last year. I believe he had 90 tackles in 10 games. And then Reggie Corbin was an all USFL tailback. So I'm really interested to see how that team meshes with him. And I'm looking forward to this game even more now, because I got a defensive mind on one side and I got an offensive mind on the other. And those are the games that I find myself most compelled to when I know I got 2 guys that know how to coach the sport playing chess against each other. I want to move to week 3 right quick because there's another new head coach in this league for the Pittsburgh Maulers that's going to face another great coach in this league in Bart Andrus. Pittsburgh Maulers are going to have Roy, that's my name, Ray Horton as their new head coach, who's got family ties to his defensive coordinator. So obviously my first question, Daryl, is how did you go get a guy who's won 3 Super Bowls and 2 as a coach to be a head coach in your franchise?
Yeah, again, just very, very lucky. And a lot of it had to do, like you said, with Ray being able to work side by side with his son, Jaron. And, it really hit home to me when he talked about being able to provide a legacy component. And we've seen it in the NFL with Mike Shanahan and Kyle Shanahan, with Bill Belichick and his sons in New England. We see that opportunity to create legacy opportunities. And Ray looked at this as an opportunity for him to provide that for Jaron in the USFL. And that really struck a chord with me. I was really proud of the perspective that he had on this. Now, Jaron was one of our internal guys that a lot of people talked about when we had those first 2 openings and we went through the traditional process of doing a head coach search. So he's definitely somebody that we'll be looking forward to moving ahead here in the USFL as one of our guys internally that we're going to want to promote. And so I'm excited to spend a little bit more time watching and following Jaron, because we were so busy with everything last year, getting everything propped up in the league, that one of the things I didn't get to do was spend as much time as I wanted to at some of the practices. So I'm really looking forward to having the opportunity to get to meet and to know Jaron on a different level, a deeper level. And I can't wait to see what his dad does. I think it's going to be one of the more interesting stories watching those 2 guys work together. So I know that Jaron's very proud of what he accomplished in year 1. I think they had the most players get into an NFL training camp. That Maulers defense had the most guys that got an opportunity to go to camp. So not only did he have talent around him, but he was able to develop that and maximize that. It'll be interesting to see how much of an impact his dad has, because it sounds like Jaron has got that the defensive side of the ball pretty much intact. So I'm really excited to see the impact that Ray brings to the offense. And I think Pittsburgh Maulers fans are going to see a little bit different style of offense that they're running, and obviously we've gotten an opportunity to see those new jerseys, that new color scheme, and brings you right back to the gold and black of the Steelers and every other sports team there in the city of Pittsburgh. So I think the Maulers feel like they fit in a little bit better now.
One of the things that I did not know that I wanted, Daryl, was to see the Maulers in black and gold. All of a sudden I'm going, oh no, I love this. This is amazing, right? Also to the point of Jaron Horton, I was totally and overwhelmingly impressed by his defense last season. I told him so, and I made it my job to get to know him. And he's already talking about playing fast and aggressive and wanting to be able to pin his ears back with a lead and go after people. He's getting Boogie Roberts back. He's getting Trey Tarpley back. He's getting the band back together. Yep. I'm excited to see what they can do in Canton. They'll be sharing a hub with the New Jersey Generals, correct?
Yes, absolutely. That was one of the big things. We wanted to keep our teams together that were there year 1. So last year we were split up, 4x2 throughout the course of season 1, and we wanted to keep those relationships together. And that was one of our really good relationships was Mike Riley and Kirby Wilson. They really kind of set the standard for us, being out at Miles College and engaging, not only what they were doing at the practice field, but the staff and the people that were a part of the day-to-day out at Miles College. We thought that was going to be a great fit for us, and it was even better than we could have anticipated. So I expect to see that same type of relationship between Ray and Mike Riley. They know of each other, haven't had a lot of time together, but very respectful of each guy's resume. And Ray is one of those, he's a big thinking man. I think that it's another really, really good relationship. And that was one of the important things we did last year, trying to create those relationships with our coaches that we're going to be sharing the facilities together. And now that they're going to have their own hubs and sharing it together, I think we laid a lot of really, really good groundwork there in year 1 of building that relationship. And even though we've got some change at the top in Pittsburgh, I can't wait to see Ray step in and build that relationship with Mike Riley.
And I get to now say that Tom Brady retired before Coach Riley did. And Coach Riley is the only guy that saw him play high school football and gave him an offer to play at USC, which is a fascinating story that I was privileged to write about at foxsports.com if you are so interested. I want to touch on a new hire for the New Orleans Breakers, because I find this one to be very interesting. John Defilippo takes over a Breaker squad that returns, I believe, 3 all USFL defenders, and frankly, they were outstanding last year. I wonder, does he know what he has in the talent that is returning that nucleus? And, had an opportunity to challenge the Stallions late there in the playoffs for an opportunity to play for a USFL championship.
I think he does. I really do. And I think that was one of the intriguing components to that. And, we told him about the uncertainty at the quarterback position with Kyle Sloter, and really he didn't flinch at that. I think he understood what he had on the defensive side of the ball. And John, being an offensive coach, I think he had a lot of confidence in his ability to rebuild and retool that offense. So you're talking about a guy, 2017, 2018 was one of the hottest names in the NFL as potential up-and-coming head coach. So for us in the USFL to have John Defilippo there, whoever the quarterbacks are in New Orleans, when all that gets settled in, this is going to be a great opportunity for them, because he did a tremendous job with Nick Foles. You just go back and look at his resume, and John Defilippo has really created the opportunity for quarterbacks to really grow and step up during his tenure there. So I'm really excited to see what he does. And with Akil Glass there, I mean, that was one of the guys that we were chasing all last season. Just kind of that wait and see. And Jim Pop never gave up on it and kept chasing him. And now that he's come over to our side and he's going to be in New Orleans, I really think this could be something that gives him an opportunity, like 50 plus of our guys had last year, get that invitation to that NFL training camp once our season's over. So I expect really, really good things from John Defilippo in New Orleans.
Akil coming out of, I believe, Alabama A&M at the time. And my goodness, you want to talk about a dual threat coming out of HBCU football that I really enjoy too. I'm excited to see what kind of a player he can be in this league, because this has also been a great league for HBCU graduates. I mean, to put it just out there, I see Tennessee State out here, Jackson State out here. We can keep going down the list. I mean, Miles College was hosting training camp for the Maulers and the Generals, as you alluded to. Very excited to see what that Breakers team can look like. And, John Defilippo is a Youngstown guy. Last Youngstown guy I got to know was Bob Stoops. Pretty good. Played Youngstown State. It's the son of I believe a former offensive coordinator at Youngstown State in Gene. And of course, you mentioned Nick Foles, but Defilippo comes on my radar. This is me, Daryl. I'm just football nerd. So Mark Sanchez is a rookie who wins multiple playoff games. And I go look it up, and the quarterback's coach is John Defilippo. So, that man absolutely understands what's going on down there. Thank you for watching the #1 college football show. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and like this video so that you don't miss any of the best college football coverage in America.